This video is a response to questions from several friends regarding the interpretation of Kevin Kelly's excellent advice for living. Here are our answers for your reference. Question 1. Is the source of enthusiasm the desire to obtain everything? Does cultivating a child's enthusiasm for what they want and what they want to know lead to them appropriately achieving it? Nowadays, whenever children want something, the elders buy it for them and solve their problems instantly. Does this extinguish their enthusiasm? Answer. Tech giants like Kevin Kelly highly advocate the role of passion in work, emphasizing the need to have passion and be enthusiastic. Research from psychologists also supports this view. But what exactly is this passion? It's not the desire for "I want to get something," but a strong motivation of "I must do this," an internal drive. Earlier, in the episode Stop Raising AI in the Same Way You Raise Humans, we discussed a concept called motivational intensity, which is passion. Why is passion so important? For example, consider a job of moving bricks on a construction site that pays exceptionally well. You get 100 yuan for each brick, and if you move a lot, there's even a double bonus later on. Because the returns for this job far exceed most people's time costs, people would willingly do it. In fact, you don't even need to offer 100 yuan. As long as the return is slightly higher than the time cost, there will be plenty of people willing to do it, and they will work diligently, as seen in jobs like delivering food. Such jobs don't require passion. However, some advanced endeavors don't come with a definite return, like moving bricks or delivering food. Take art, for example. Yes, successful artists make a lot of money, and everyone envies them. But the success rate in art is extremely low. The learning curve for artists is twisted and long, filled with uncertainty. Maybe you practice for 10 years without any income, or you spend 10 years playing minor roles, without landing a significant one. How do you persevere? We only see an actor becoming famous for a movie, but how did they endure those years of obscurity and lack of good roles? The common belief is that you just need to persist. Believe in yourself, endure any hardships now for a successful future. How is this thinking different from buying lottery tickets? Just because I persist in buying lottery tickets, am I guaranteed to win someday? Relying on an extremely small probability, isn't this foolish? What truly sustains artists and entrepreneurs is not just the desire for success or belief. It's passion. I love doing this. Even if there's no return, I'm willing to do it. Because even though there's no external reward, there's an internal one. I didn't make money yesterday, and I'm still not making money today. From an outsider's perspective, I might seem like a failure. But in my eyes, my skills today surpass yesterday's. I acknowledge myself. While you may think I'm struggling in pain, I'm actually joyfully growing. This is internal drive. This is the power of passion. So, passion is neither desire nor belief. It's self-driven. Therefore, buying things for children, solving their problems, clearly cannot ignite their passion. Encouraging children to explore on their own, to be hands-on, fostering autonomy, and letting them self-assess are the ways to cultivate passion. Question 2. Is kindness easily confused with weakness, and how can one differentiate between kindness and weakness? How can you appear kind to others without being perceived as weak? Answer. Recently, I've come across a unified theory addressing these questions called the pratfall effect, introduced by psychologist Elliot Aronson in 1966. The key idea is that the same behavior can have different effects on different people. The pratfall effect suggests that, if you're generally perceived as competent, and in a high position, making a sudden mistake or an awkward move, like falling on stage, won't diminish your image. Instead, it might actually enhance it. People react with, "Oh, you're human too. You're adorable, haha." You're not afraid to admit mistakes, because you're not worried about being seen as weak. Your capabilities and status have already been proven, making it quite safe. You make a mistake, everyone sees it, you correct it, and people still look up to you. However, if you haven't already demonstrated your competence, it's a different story. Your mistakes might be seen as incompetence, and your compliance may make you appear vulnerable to bullying. So, those without absolute strength must find ways to prove their capabilities first, and establish a positive image. Especially in the game of power, which can be particularly ruthless. If you don't set things up well at the beginning, the later stages might become challenging. If you're brought in as a mid-level manager, and haven't proven your capabilities to the company, you can't afford the luxury of being sincere. Yet, individuals like Kevin Kelly aren't concerned with power dynamics. They don't care how others perceive them. They have plenty of time, no need for validation, and they enjoy the feeling of being straightforward. But even in the power game, you can adopt a Kevin Kelly approach outside the power dynamics. Imagine a lower-ranking official, who's submissive to superiors at work, but acts tough at home with family. Isn't that pitiful and contemptible? Question 3. What's the difference between preaching and promoting? I'm about to participate in a speech competition at work, and I want to rally everyone to build a service-oriented organization. I don't want to appear condescending. I just can't stand people exploiting their tiny bit of authority, and making every effort to make things difficult for others. Answer. When we talk reasonably, it's like coaching someone through a math problem. Even if I don't speak, as long as you understand the relevant facts, you can deduce the same result yourself. Or if someone else articulates the reasoning, the effect is the same. When you understand, you naturally agree, and you might even be willing to pay to hear it from someone, because you know it's beneficial. If a principle needs to be promoted, it implies that following this principle might not necessarily be in your personal interest. For example, if there's a lot of litter in the neighborhood, a tragedy of the commons, the most beneficial action for you personally might be to ignore it, or even join in the littering. However, improving the environment requires someone to take the lead. If you promote the idea of not littering, convince people to respond, you might change the situation. But the condition for others to respond is believing that everyone else will hear and respond. So, your promotion needs to be loud enough to ensure that everyone not only hears, but believes everyone else will hear and respond. Preaching has another layer of meaning. It involves the effectiveness of the principle, and the speaker's identity. You have to represent the official opinion, and have authority. For instance, a government department in a county often troubles private enterprises, imposing frequent demands, causing businesses to leave. One day, the county leaders realize this is unsustainable, and decide to attract private enterprises back. They formulate a new policy. No more demands, no troublesome inspections, and a promise that, even if a business owner commits a crime in the county, they won't be easily arrested. This is a peculiar policy. Are business owners above the law? You can't convince the common people with this privilege. So you have to loudly preach to the business owners, with the government's credibility backing you. For your speech competition, if your initiative is merely a personal opinion, and doesn't represent an official intention, and the proposed action doesn't bring apparent benefits to people, you might fail. It's best if you can find reasons to say that not making things difficult for others, using your power reasonably, is not only beneficial for the organization, but also advantageous for yourself. Question 4. Sometimes, a great idea that I believe in pops into my mind, making me excited to the point of losing sleep. However, after jotting it down, the excitement diminishes a bit. Upon deeper exploration and sharing with others, the excitement approaches freezing point. I wonder if it's due to my insufficient systematic thinking ability, wishful thinking, or other reasons. Do you have methods to discern and filter these great ideas? Thank you. Reply. Having a self-perceived great idea that excites you is a wonderful experience. You should always jot down such ideas, and persist with them. Getting a good idea is the happiest thing in a day for me. But if you want to publish this idea, that's another matter. You have to screen and eliminate. For instance, at this moment, I have 881 items in my content library, and 296 items in the drafts. Yet I'm still pondering what to write for the next column. Because the vast majority of these items won't meet the standard for publication. They'll be discarded. An idea is worth keeping as long as it's correct and useful. But to be publishable, it must be novel, not just in your eyes, but interesting to the readers. As we've mentioned many times before, interest equals familiar, plus surprising. Content that readers find interesting lies within the learning zone between comfort and panic. To grasp this balance, you need to cultivate a long-term sense, knowing where the public's cognitive baseline is. Anything below this baseline is mundane and not worth writing about. The baseline may not be a straight line. It could be circular or have a more complex shape, varying across different fields. Your task is to slightly surpass the baseline. If you go too far, readers won't understand. If you stay too close, they'll find it uninteresting. To find where the baseline is, you need to read a lot of popular articles, even those you might look down upon. Read the comments to understand the reactions these articles provoke. You must know what people are interested in and from what perspectives. There's no manual for this. You have to find this feeling on your own, like how you need to eat at many Chinese restaurants to understand what Chinese cuisine is all about. This is cultural self-awareness. I believe the creator's task is to elevate that baseline. I hope the things we've covered in our columns quickly help the public understand, to the point where others don't need to repeat them. Then, everyone can break through the baseline further from where we left off.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.